Now that Outcome Memories version 0.2 has been out for a while, there has been a big decrease in Amy mates, and I mean big. Barely anybody plays her anymore due to how weak she is against the new EXEs, and the fact that she is not good despite having various playstyles due to all of her card combos. So, today we're going to find out why that's the case, how we can fix it, and my personal rework that I give Amy if I had the opportunity. I'll be trying to give a rework that's fun and not too complex for anyone, whether you're a more casual player or a competitive player. And I also want to try and make these changes as most realistic as possible. I don't want to go too overboard because I want to try and set some realistic expectations for these buffs. Anyways, if you guys like any of these ideas, please consider subscribing. And without wasting any time, let's jump straight into the buffs. So, first off is the hammer, her basic stun. Before we start up with the buffs though, let's give Amy her old iframes back when she uses this ability. In a time where iframes can be the reason whether you live or get killed, Amy suffers very hard without having her old iframes since she can still die regardless of her winding up her hammer, making her a very weak and unreliant stunner. With that being said, the normal stun is unchanged. Amy gets to keep her normal stun, but the cooldown will be lowered to 18 seconds. The buff will be that Amy can now choose to charge up her hammer for a stronger stun. This would be performed by leaving the hammer button pressed down. During the charge up process, she will be slowed down, being similar to Knuckles, but you do not get the damage reduction, making it a high risk, high reward stun. Amy will gain a boost when she releases the charge, gaining iframes during the process, and like in sonic.exe the disaster, she will spin to the direction she's facing. Now, the stun duration depends on how long she's charged her hammer, ranging from 4 seconds when it's slow charged, to 5 if it's middle charged, and 6 if it's a full charge. Her cooldown is also increased to 30 seconds after she performs the charge stun if it hits, and 35 if she misses the charge stun. Amy's cards will also affect the duration of the charge stun. So, for example, if you have the Fools, the stun will instead be 3 seconds for a low charge, 4 seconds for a middle charge, and 5 seconds for a full charge instead of the base 4 seconds for a low, 5 seconds for middle, and 6 seconds for a full charge. This effect also applies to the strength card. It would instead be 5.5 seconds for a low charge, 6.5 seconds for a middle charge, and 7 seconds for a full charge. The hammer bounce as well could get a slight upgrade. My idea for a buff for the hammer bounce was that when Amy hammer bounces, she will now perform a roll after landing and gain a speed boost for a total of 2 seconds. This lets the hammer bounce become a much better mobility tool. Also, her cards will not affect the speed boost, and the cooldown will be increased to 25 seconds from 18 seconds if she misses. Okay, so now that we buffed the hammer, let's get into the hammer throw. When Amy throws her hammer, it will now create a small area of effect wherever it lands. The EXE will proceed to be stunned if he's caught in the shockwave, and the duration of the stun is also shorter. But if you manage to get a direct hit, then the stun is extended and it pushes the killer back. This lets Amy have more options for a long-range stun, which rewards aim and precision while also helping players have an easier time hitting the hammer throw. To nerf this move a little bit though, Amy cannot cancel the hammer throw in exchange and must throw it if it's activated. Now that we have that done, it's time for the most complicated part about this rework. Amy's tarot cards. Amy's cards are probably the most annoying part of her kit, just due to the fact that it's totally reliant on RNG, and getting bad cards 2 times in a row at the start of the match could be the deciding factor in whether you lose a game or not. Because if the EXEs you walking slow, you know damn well you're about to get targeted, and we all know that is just not fun at all. So, what do I propose for a rework to Amy's tarot cards? Well, my idea was that when the match starts, if the 2 cards that you receive are not the ones you would like to use, then you get the option to remove one of the cards in that deck. The downside to this is that the card that gets removed will not appear throughout the rest of the match, but The buff is that you get to pick one card that will stay with you throughout the whole match. When you do this though, the re-rolling cooldown will be increased from 20 seconds to 25. The Emperor though cannot be picked for the card that you get to keep for the whole match since it has no downsides and would make it so everyone only picks this card. This makes it so you're only rolling for one card, but still get to keep a card for the whole match that suits the type of playstyle that you are going for, enabling Amy to decide what role she wants to play during the match, whether it be a stunner, support, or a staller, even if luck isn't by your side. If you decide to keep both cards though, they will have buffs on the effect the card has and a reduction on the nerf if the card has a negative effect for the entire match's duration. That is, unless you end up re-rolling, which you will lose the effect. Okay, so here are the stats of the cards if you were to keep them. The strength. Amy now stuns for 6.5 seconds instead of 5, with the damage increase being reduced from 10% to 5%, and her speed reduction is now 1.5 instead of 3, being just a bit faster than the world. This will let Amy become a much stronger stunner, giving this card a bit more reason to be picked if you want to play a stunner playstyle. The Fools. Amy's stun lasts half a second more and she gets a speed boost for 2 seconds, letting her stall a little bit better while still having a short stun. The Sun. Sun no longer blinds teammates and heals 2 HP instead of 1 every 2 seconds, helping Amy be a better support, healing her team a bit quicker in case Cream is dead or isn't in the match. The Emperor keeps its 0.5 speed and 15% damage resistance with no changes since this card has no downsides. The World. Amy's speed reduction is reduced from 2 to 1, and teammates in her area of effect also gain a small speed increase while near her. This helps Amy support teammates mid-chase. And that would be it for the cards. Except it's not. There's one card missing. And it is the Moon. Unfortunately, I just didn't have any ideas for this card, so I decided to keep it the same way, being a nerf to Amy due to all of the buffs she's receiving, making it essentially the bad card of the deck. But I would love to see if you guys have any good ideas for this card, so please leave it down in the comments. Now that we have practically gotten everything down, what about the last man standing? Well, for the last man standing, my idea was that Amy keeps her current cards, but she cannot re-roll. In exchange, she no longer has the nerfs of those cards attached to them and only gets the buff when the last man standing is activated. So, that would practically be it for all of the Amy rework. While there is still RNG involved, this lets Amy have a much better chance at choosing her own playstyle. Her and Amy relies way too much on RNG, and letting players have more options makes her a way more fun and balanced character, while still having to need a bit of luck to get the perfect role. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, this is my first time making any sort of rework video, so some information may overlap with other things, but I hope you guys can kinda see what I'm going for, as I love Amy because she is my main. But right now, she is just not as fun, nor is she a good character. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!